Hey there, and welcome to Creatives Get Real. This is Roben-Marie Smith.
And I'm Sandi Keene, and these are real conversations about the creative life.
Hey,
Hey,
Sandy.
Robin.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing well.
This is a cool topic we're going to be talking about today. It's real. It is so real.
And what is it?
It's FOMO.
Oh.
And if anyone doesn't know what that is, perhaps FOMO isn't everywhere. Maybe it's only in the US. FOMO is the fear of missing out.
And that is so real.
Yes. I have not been vaccinated for it. How about you?
No, absolutely not.
No, I am highly susceptible.
Every time I go to get the shot, I chicken out and I drive away.
Well, the line is so long.
This is true. Just like Chick-fil-A. No, sorry. It's too long. Can't wait.
Oh, no frosted lemonade for me today.
No.
Yes, FOMO. Oh my goodness. What a real thing that is. So if you had to guess, let me just ask you a personal question here.
Okay.
Is your biggest FOMO product-based or technique-based?
Wow, that's a good question.
Thank you.
Wow, I hadn't really thought about it in those terms, product versus technique. But doesn't the technique kind of lead to the product, sort of? The end result?
Maybe for
Okay.
you. I know which I am.
I think it's probably technique, because I know that there's things that I really wish I could do and do well. I wish I could draw and sketch and do faces and these amazing things like that. And I just can't do it. And so I'm envious of those who can. But the end result of that is whatever that painting looks like or whatever that beautiful sketch looks like. And yeah, I feel like I'm missing out because I don't have that talent.
For me, it's definitely product-based. And I'm also under the false illusion and delusion that the right, whatever, fill in the blank, brush, paint, paper, I will become a virtuoso if I just buy the right product.
Oh, but isn't that true though? It's sort of like, okay, yeah, you go out and you get the products and you think, all right, now that I have them, okay, the magic should happen. Like the wand has been cast here over all the supplies. And now I should magically be able to do whatever that is because I have all the tools and the supplies.
That's right. You hold up that new brush and you're like, okay, brush, dazzle me. Come on, show me the stuff.
No, and that's good. I was thinking when you said product, I was thinking the end result. Like, okay, the end result of whatever was created. But I get it now. I see what you're saying.
I'm talking the Amazon cart. That's me. Here's the magic brush. Ding.
There you go. And how long is your wish list? Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It's you watch someone who you really admire and you see that they're using a different paint than you use. And you're like, well, that explains it.
Exactly.
If I use that paint too, everything will change.
But that makes perfect sense, because as instructors teaching art classes, how many times do you say to your students or let your students know, use what you have. You don't need this particular color or this brand or maybe some of the things you might want to have, but inevitably they are wanting exactly the same tools you have. Exactly.
Yes. Please link me to that exact magic brush.
Right.
Because I want it in every size.
Exactly. And we're all guilty of it. I know I've done it. I've taken classes or I've watched videos and it's like, that's what I'm missing. It's not the talent that I'm missing. It's the fact that I don't have the brush or the pen or the pencil.
That's right. Nobody told me that golden paint was the answer or Magello, watercolors. Yeah. Once you get those, you're a watercolorist.
Wow. Yeah. Don't have to put in the time. Don't have to put in the practice. it should happen magically. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's so
And
funny.
that truly is, part of, at least for me, part of my thinking where, sometimes I have to coach myself, like, get real, really? Like the last 16 times you bought the product, was there a huge difference?
Yeah. It's the insanity, right? Doing the same
Yes.
thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Yeah. Just because you bought a new brush does not mean that you're an expert in watercolor. No.
Exactly. So what do you say to yourself that helps you with FOMO? What do you tell yourself when you're like, ooh, look at that shiny, pretty right there. I should
Yeah.
have that.
I say to myself, I need to get a part-time job to pay for all the supplies that I need. No, I'm kidding. You know, it's tough because it's not just that. It's looking at and observing and seeing all these things that you would like to be able to do, and then your focus goes here and your focus goes there, and then you get, I mean, we've all done it. We go out and get all the stuff, and then you're like, wow, it's going to take me a lot of practice, a lot of time to do this. It's hard because I I think you and I know we're multi-passionates about things. There's things that we both love, sketching and watercolor, and I love the journaling and I love sewing, and there's just too many things. And I think that it's really hard to be great at all of them.
It's impossible.
It really is. And so over the years, I've had to say, okay, yes, I love making jewelry, but that's not going to be my thing. If I'm going to excel in something and feel confident and do well in it, I need to let some things go. I need to narrow my focus a little bit, and I need to try to get better at whatever that is versus trying to do everything, because that's just frustrating. Just gets you more frustrated when you aren't seeing results or you're not excelling in whatever that is. But it's hard because you see so much out there on social and everywhere. Oh, and this and the magazines and everywhere else. And oh, I wonder what that's like. And I want to try that. I don't want to miss out on anything. Maybe that's going to be the thing that I'm really going to love more than what I love now. Right.
Right. Absolutely. And I think I've heard you say this a lot. You say, I just need to stay in my lane. I think that's such good advice. And it's really relevant here that you have to figure out what your lane is, and your lane can change. Like me, I was in acrylics, and then, watercolor came along for me. Your lane can change, but while you're on a certain path, stay in your lane.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's like, let's talk alcoholics, seeing them everywhere. Is that for me? No. Do I love them? Yes, they're beautiful. I love the results, but I have to stay in my lane, which right now is watercolor, and finding out the different ways that I can incorporate watercolor into what I'm doing. Right now I'm working with pen and watercolor, which I'm really enjoying. So it's staying in that lane. What about you? What have you been tempted by that you've FOMO'd over?
I think I've probably FOMO'd over everything. I mentioned jewelry. I went completely crazy, and I bought tools and pliers and everything. And I loved making the jewelry and working in that, but it just didn't satisfy me like working with paper and paint and the stitching. And so I finally had to tell myself, look, you just need to put that aside. That's not going to be your thing. Stop investing, stop spending money in that area. You love it. You admire the beautiful jewelry that others make, but you cannot do all of it. You just can't. And it's hard because you are seeing all these shiny things and you're going, oh, and that, and oh, and that. And you maybe deep down, you really want to be great at all of them, because you're an artist and you're creative, and well, I should be able to, and granted, we do have talent and skills in various things, but you just can't do it all.
No.
But yes, but you saying stay in your lane, I just have to constantly remind myself. And sometimes for me, it's not just the art part, it's the tech part, because I love the tech. And so I get an email about this new, get in on the ground floor of this thing and this software. And I'm just foaming at the mouth because I'm like, yeah, I want to try that. And I want to try this. And I find myself going into these holes where it just never ends, because there's always going to be something new. There's always some new tech thing. And I really have to remind myself, okay, you don't need to try all of them, especially if what you're using is working and it's good.
Right.
I struggle the most with that. It's still artistic because I feel like doing websites and graphic design and things like that is creative.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, do I get lost in that hole. It's like, oh my gosh, this is going to be better than anything I've tried. But it might not be. But I have
Right.
to really stay focused. It's hard for
Yeah.
me. Mm-hmm.
I think that FOMO is, for me, was much bigger when I was a newer artist, because I didn't know what my passion was going to be. I didn't know where my real flair was going to show up. So, you're trying so many things. Let me try this and that, trying to find the one thing that just really sparks you. And
Right.
then that's when you very easily succumb to FOMO, for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think other people too. At least that's what I'm reading on social media, that they too, it's like, why did I buy this? Because,
Right.
yeah, no.
It's time for a yard sale. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that yard sale that we talked about last week. Yes, very much so. But then even inside of my lane, I can still get it over product. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
at some point you just say to yourself, okay, that's enough. I have enough, and I need to work with what I've got, and let's just stay in your lane and go for it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And I think too that we should be careful. We need to be careful that we don't let FOMO paralyze us into doing nothing, because I think that
Ooh,
that can happen too, where
yes.
you're so overwhelmed and you're so I don't know, maybe lack some confidence in yourself, that you see all of this amazing stuff out there and you're like, I just can't, you're overwhelmed to the point where you're going, I'm just not going to do anything, or I
Right.
don't think I can, so I'm not going to, or I can't be as good as this artist or this person, so I'm not going to try. And we talked about this in one of our earlier episodes about, putting your art out there, and the fact that even the art that we've put out there and started with is nothing like what we do now. It
Right.
is a process. You are going
Yeah.
to grow and learn and get better. And here's the other side of that too. There are people out there that are probably looking at you and having FOMO. So there's always somebody else that is a little more ahead of you, or
Right.
has more talent or more skill in something, but you do as well. You're just in
Mm-hmm.
a different place.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is easy to succumb to that. Let's say that you're watching a big artist who you really like, and you're watching them unbox this giant box of product that they've gotten for free from a company. They have a corporation who's saying, hey, I love your work. Would you use my product?
Right.
Sometimes that's hard to watch, and you're thinking, wow, I would love that. I want some of that too.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
reality is not always the same as just watching it on Instagram or Facebook.
Oh, that's right. Because behind that unboxing are deadlines, are requirements, is the fact that you sit down to try to work with stuff and it's not inspiring you. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's a downside and an upside to everything,
Everything.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not
Yes.
always super shiny on that other side. Sometimes, sometimes not.
That is true. And I think that when you're a newer artist, you don't know those kind of things, because it sounds exciting to get a new box of whatever it is. But you're right. Things have strings.
Exactly. It's like, oh my gosh, I would never choose to work with these supplies on my own. How in the world am I going to do this? I mean, you're stretching yourself, but,
Right.
and that's not to say that there are those times when it is great and it's magical, but there's always a trade-off for everything,
Right.
really. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's when you receive product that is really in your wheelhouse,
Mm-hmm.
like when you get jelly art
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Absolutely.
I mean, that is totally your wheelhouse, and I assume that you're excited when you get those.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
But then
absolutely.
there is a time when you get stuff that you're like, what the heck do I do with this? Did you look at my Instagram feed? Because this is
Exactly.
not me.
Frogs? Yeah, I don't work with frogs. Frogs and palm trees? What? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I had a thought that just came in and it left, which happens.
Oh, I'm so familiar with that
Oh my
syndrome.
gosh, yes, it's terrible.
It's different than the fear of missing out. It is the words are gone.
That's a fear of forgetting everything. Yeah. All right. Hopefully it will come back to me because I was thinking of something that we talk about a lot and it just totally went out with the frog. So
Okay.
I don't know what
Well,
happened.
you let me know when it comes
Okay.
back. So
Hopefully it'll come back.
I understand.
Hmm.
What about making a plan of action and staying in your lane rather than the shiny object theory? How do you feel about that?
It's vital. That's how I feel about it. Especially for me, because again, I can be so easily distracted by something. And I don't know. I think it's just perhaps my personality is very prone to this. I don't know. But literally it's sort of like, okay, I've already started that. And the excitement maybe isn't quite as high as it was. And so I can be easily distracted and led to something else that, wow, that looks good. But
Mm-hmm.
yet I need to finish this other thing, or I need to stay focused on that. And if I can literally plan and prepare, which isn't to say I can't get off track a little bit. If I want to go work in the studio on something else, but then yet I'll come back to whatever this is I'm working on. But I need to have something written down and a plan so that I can stay on track, because it is very easy to just start looking at other things. And yeah, it's like going to the grocery store and saying, okay, I am only going to stay on the perimeter. I do not need to go inside because that's where the stuff is that I don't need to buy. Or
Mm-hmm.
going when you're hungry, because then you're more susceptible to like, yes, this, and this. And then you get home and you go, why did I buy all this stuff?
Right.
Saying go with your grocery list and stick
Right.
to it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're in the Cheetos aisle going, how many flavors of Cheetos can I fit in this bag?
Give me the pirate's booty. Bring it on. Bring it on. Yeah, exactly. That's so true though. That's so
Yeah.
true. Well, how about you? What do you do to try to help eliminate the FOMO and stay focused?
Yeah. Well, I like you were talking about, I'm a big list maker and I like to plan out things. And so I just try to stay within what I'm doing. Let's say I'm doing a 30-day challenge, which I really enjoy. I like them. And once I start, I really, really, really try to finish. I almost never don't finish. Um, and then something else comes along. And I try to be realistic. Wait a minute. This
Mm,
is all the time I have. I can't commit to something else. This is not the time. You know,
right.
it's we both teach classes, so we know what it's like, um, also to be a student of a class and seeing a new class come out. And you're looking at your list of classes that you've bought and you haven't taken yet. And you're like, no,
Yeah.
I need to be good.
Yep.
I
That's so
need to
true.
work. I need to work on what I have. And that's what I try to do is just, you know, work with what I have, on what I've already committed to and what I'm interested in.
Hmm.
And if something great comes along, write it down and
Hmm.
I'll look at this later.
Yeah,
But at
that's a good
least,
point.
you know, for me, writing it down, it's like acknowledging that that's interesting. Okay, this is something I want to look at later, bookmarking it.
Sure.
I'll look at that later when I've finished what I'm doing right now.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. And I think too, we're both doing the 100-day project right now, which is we're over halfway through.
Thank
And
goodness.
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's this, when you start reaching the 50, 60-day mark, it gets a little like, whoa, how much more do we got? But I think to staying focused on something like that, like a 30-day or whatever that looks like, you really do feel accomplished once
Oh
you've
yeah.
completed it. And you said, I've set this goal and I've stayed focused on this. And yeah, yay me. I did this. I can do this. And I can, like you said, if there's something that comes along, then, you put that aside and you say, I'll look at that later. And, I've struggled with that a lot. Opportunities that come my way, whatever those look like, I don't want to miss out. Well, what if I say no to that teaching project or no to that product that they want to send me? In fact, just the other day, I was like, wow, this sounds really cool, but I don't have time right now to do this. I cannot
Right.
commit to this. So I had to say no. But that's okay, because we've talked about this so many times. And this goes across the board to anything that you're asked to do. Two things I've learned over the years that I do. One is I say, if I've said yes right this minute, sit back and see how you feel. Do you feel stressed? Do you feel like overwhelmed? Do you feel like, what did I just do? The second
Mm-hmm.
thing that I'll do is I'll say, I will think about it and I'll get back to you and let you know. Or
Those
I'll
are both
say,
so smart.
they work. Or I'll say, you know what? That sounds like a great idea. How about reach out to me in a week? And then it's in their court. So if they don't, then I'm not out anything and I didn't not respond, but I've given myself time. And I used to not be good at that at all because I didn't want to miss out on anything. I
Right.
wanted to say, yes, this opportunity, that opportunity. And you have to really figure out, well, one, you're not going to miss out. You just have to be selective because you certainly don't want to be stressing yourself out by saying yes to everything, which, I've been down that road. So having a plan where you can say, this does not fit right now. I can't do this right now. And it doesn't mean that opportunities are no longer ever going to come your way, because that's not true.
That is not, you're right. That is not true. But you talking about the 100-day project, which I'd like to say, I think it's a fantastic project. And I think that doing something for 100 days, at the end, you're going to have discovered something wonderful about yourself. Now, having said that, I, Sandi Keene, hereby admit, I did the 100-day project out of FOMO.
Oh,
I will never, ever, ever, ever do the 100-day project again. And it's because it doesn't fit me. I cannot commit. Yeah. I did DLP, Documented Life Project.
Yep.
Yeah. And I now know my commitment level is 30 days. That's where my comfort zone is. And I was silly. That's a kind word. Silly. To do the 100-day project, but I wanted to see what it was like, and I didn't want to miss out. All of my friends are doing it, so I need to do it.
Yeah. No, that's a great point and a great learning experience for you, that you absolutely know now that your max is 30 days.
It's 30 days.
It's and now and you won't feel like you're missing out next year when the 100-day project comes around, or another opportunity that's more than 30 days, or maybe even a 30-day where you go, no, not yet, not right now, or whatever that looks like.
I have something else coming up.
Exactly.
Yeah, I probably will have a small amount of FOMO next year too. When I watch you and Ray and my close friends doing it, but I do know that is too much of a commitment for me, and I'm seeing lots of other people feel the same way. So I mean, I think you have to know yourself and know your limitations, and here's one I've learned: 30 days.
Yeah, no, that's super smart. Or not overdoing the project, because it's really it's not necessarily about art. Everybody does this all around the globe. It's something different. You pick an action. It could be anything. It could just be sketching, random circles on a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be a completed project. I think, again, we tend to overcommit and make things bigger than they need to be. And this is my third year, and I'm enjoying this year far more than the first 2 years. And I think it's because I learned a lot in those 2 years about what to do, how to approach it. In fact, I'm days behind. I'm like a week behind right now, and I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. And I was the first couple of years trying to figure out, oh my gosh, no one's going to come back to my feed because they're not seeing stuff every single day. I'm missing out on whatever. And it's not true. It's not true. So yeah.
And nobody's counting.
No, I know.
Roben-Marie, it's day 56 and you've only put up 49 things. I'm counting.
I know. And we think that's what's happening, and it's not. I mean, it's crazy.
Nobody has time for that.
No, it's crazy, the things we get in our head. So, okay. Well, as we wrap up, what are our takeaways here? What do we want our listeners, which, by the way, we love our listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we'd love to ask you if you'd subscribe to us, because we're just really thrilled and happy with all the feedback we've gotten from you guys. We love it. We're happy that this podcast is actually making an impact on you and bringing you something that you have been looking for.
Yes, it's so rewarding. It's so awesome. And we are extremely grateful, and we would love if you would subscribe. So I think the takeaways are that FOMO is real. It's highly contagious. You'll catch it from your friends. There's just no doubt about it.
You'll catch it just by yourself in your studio with, your laptop. That's how you'll catch it too.
That's true. But for me, my friends walking by, you, Ray, anybody with a new product, you're like, hey, what's that?
Exactly.
What's that magic thing?
Yeah.
So it's real, it's highly contagious, and the only way that you can treat it is to get to know your art self better, and to stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. That's right.
Yeah. And sometimes saying no is really important, that you're saying no to yourself. Like, come on, no.
Yeah,
you can't
exactly.
do that. What are you thinking?
Oh my gosh, how many times have I heard you say that to me? What are you thinking? Idiot. Duh.
I don't say the idiot part.
I know you don't.
Just
I
to
say
be
that to
clear.
myself. I know. No, you don't say that. I say that to myself. What are you doing?
Yes. Well, we all do that. We overcommit. We overestimate.
Yeah, we do, for sure, in so many things. So,
what about you? What's your takeaway for this?
Well, I mean, the main thing I say all the time now too, with staying in your own lane, and I think, we touched on the fact that you need to have a plan. You need to set realistic goals for yourself, and you can be flexible, but you need to have something that you've written down, document, list, whatever that looks like for you, and set those goals and accomplish those goals. If you're constantly wavering off and going here and going there, you really don't know what you can do. If you're not completing things and you're not following through and you're getting distracted all the time, first of all, it's very frustrating. It's very stressful. But if you can find a way to kind of stick to things and go, okay, and this has been super hard for me. If an opportunity comes to me this year, I'm going to say no, whatever that looks like. And I've done really well this year in doing that, because I needed to, for my own sanity and my own well-being. And that's okay. Next year's a new year. And I think it's realizing that you're not alone in how you feel about things too. We all go through this. We all, as people, as artists, it's not just that. It's, oh my gosh, look at those awesome shoes. Where did you get those? Oh my gosh, I have to have those shoes. And you think that you are missing something because you don't have whatever that is.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And the other takeaway is there are no magical qualities to products, classes, or techniques.
What? Are you sure?
Yeah.
But it's got gold flakes in it.
It's such a downer. But it's true. It's true.
Yeah. Good talk.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I can't wait to do more of these. These are fun.
Yeah, they are. Just sitting over the table, studio talk. We're really glad you guys were here with us today. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. We really appreciate it. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Creatives Get Real.
We sure appreciate all your support.
And you can find me at sandikeene.com and my teaching site, popupartclasses.com.
And you can find me at robenmarie.com and my classes at robenmariestudio.com.